if you're investing in yourself, it'll bring a return. People will go spend money on cars and food and houses and all sorts of junk on Amazon, but they won't invest in themselves. What is up, everybody? My name's Kevin Kartchner, and I am the CEO of the Fight Against Mediocrity, where we talk about sales, business, real estate, entrepreneurship, and fighting mediocrity and becoming better. Today, like I had holding up here at the beginning, we're going to talk about Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So really, really cool story. This book absolutely changed my life. And when I was 13 or 14, my uncle gave me the audio version, and I listened to it like twice within that next year. And it totally shifted my paradigm about what I wanted to do and what I wanted to become. And the reason being is because, well, ever since I read it in class, in elementary school and middle school and high school, whenever they would say, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I said investor and business owner because of this book. And I didn't really know what that meant. I just knew that's the lifestyle I wanted. And it just made it so clear in this book of the benefits of being a business owner and investor and not trading time for money and not following the rat race of go to college, get a good job, invest in a 401k and run out of money before you die. And it just made so much sense. And I was so confused why everybody didn't want to do that. Biggest takeaway I had, and what's interesting is it influenced my life significantly, was in this book, it's lesson 6. If you have one of the older versions, it might be different. But in lesson 6, it's titled Work to Learn, Don't Work for Money. And the subtitle is Job Security Meant Everything to My Educated Dad. Learning meant everything to my rich dad. What I wanted to talk about is in the beginning of the chapter, he shares a story of he was being interviewed. He was being interviewed with a newspaper in Singapore, and the young female had met him at the hotel he was at. And he knew that she was a really good writer. She had written a few articles about him before in the past. And, they got the interview underway, and she was asking him questions. And halfway through the interview, she said, I would love to be a best-selling author like you. I have a novel, but I just can't seem to get it off the ground. And he's like, well, what's the problem? And she's like, I don't know. I just can't seem to get anyone to buy it. And it just doesn't get any traction. And he said, there's a school here nearby that teaches people how to sell. I think it'd be very beneficial if you went and learned how to sell. Like, just very, very much so a helpful comment. Like, hey, I think you should do this. Trying to solve her problem like all men do, but in a nice way. And she said, very offended, like, why would you ever ask me to do that? Like, I am not going to sell. I am not going to stoop to that level of selling or learning to sell. Like, I am a professional writer. I write novels. I would never sell. And he backpedaled and said, oh, I'm sorry. Like, obviously regretting the advice that he had given her. And it was interesting because she basically said what most people believe. Sales is bad. It's negative. It's slimy. It's slicked back car salesman. But really what sales is providing value, enough value to someone else that they want to exchange money with you. And it's persuading that value happen. Without sales, we would have no economy because inventors wouldn't be able to sell their product. Business people wouldn't be able to sell their product and service. And because of that, no one would have anything to market. No manufacturers would have anything to produce. No stores or suppliers would have anything to sell or store in their warehouses. And the economy would come to a grinding halt as we know it. And he said, as she was walking away, and this is very telling, he says, he picks up, he had his book and her notepad in front of him, and he picks it up and he shows it to her. And he says, what does it say on the book? It said, Robert Kiyosaki, best-selling author. And he looked at her and he said, it doesn't say best writing author. It says best-selling author. And she kind of looked at him shocked. I don't think it stuck with her though that, you know, it doesn't matter how good you are at something. If you can't sell it, it doesn't matter. And I'm sure I've said this in another video, but the largest seller of hamburgers in the world is McDonald's. Now, I guarantee you, if you took all the hamburgers in the world and taste tested them, or even went to a hamburger competition where they picked the best world's best hamburger, McDonald's will never win, nor do they want to win. But they aren't the best, they're the best known. And the best known product is always going to win, always. And so when people say like sales is slimy or don't learn sales or I don't know if I can do sales or this or that, it's really just exchanging value with other people. You know, you have a good product and you want to exchange value and persuading others to take a course of action. Selling is actually one of the most noble things you can do. And, you know, as he talked about this, and it was interesting as I was skimming through this new version, I couldn't find where he said it, but I remember, maybe it was in the next chapter, maybe I just didn't read far enough, but I remember he said he didn't take jobs. This is Robert Kiyosaki talking. He didn't take jobs after college to earn money. He took jobs after college to learn skills. And he talked about how he was an accountant for his rich dad, how he did several different, you know, leadership position. And he talked about several different positions he held. And then he talked about a sales position he had. And he said, I went and did this to learn sales. And ever since I'm 13, if you think about how crazy this is, how influential one book was in my life, one person's words. This is like kind of a side tangent, but if you think about how impactful what he said was to me in my life and how big of an impact it's made on me, and you think about if he would have not shared, I know Robert he wrote this to make money and to build his brand and to, you know, he's a capitalist. But if he would have been selfish with his knowledge, my life would be completely different in a bad way. Because he chose to share and write and promote what he believed in, my life was different. It's a side tangent, but for any of you thinking, you know, what do I have to share or should I share or do I have anything to share? Like share what you believe and what you know because it will impact someone's life. So he said he got a sales job. And ever since when I was 13 listening to that, I said, I will learn sales. I will take a job and I will learn sales. And I was studying accounting in college and always really wanted a sales job. And there were a few opportunities that came up. You know, I did a few preseason trips for summer sales, which are like, they go knock doors for the summer. And it ended up not working out. Not that I didn't want to, but just the situation at the time. And so I studied accounting, went and got an accounting job after school ended, college ended, or graduated. And I was doing accounting for a year and was happy to learn it, but was not happy in the position and knew that I needed to, number one, increase my income, stop trading. I needed to stop trading time for money because if I did that, I'd be 65 and a half and have always worked for I would always have to be present to earn money. And in this book, it talks about how you want to invest in assets so you don't have to be present earning money. So I knew I needed to learn sales, number one, to learn the skill, and number two, to earn more money so that I could invest. And sales is really cool because you don't trade time for money, you trade value for money. If you're a really bad salesperson and you spend 20 hours selling and you don't sell anything, you're not going to make any money. But if you're a really, really good salesperson and you spend 2 hours selling, you could make the same amount of money someone else would have made in 6 months, in 2 hours. And so you're not trading time for money anymore. You're trading value for money. And granted, sales is a skill. I believe sales is a skill anyone with high achievement drive can learn. And when I say high achievement drive, anyone who wants more in life, anyone who is sick and tired of being sick and tired, anyone who is sick of trading time for money, anyone who desires freedom. You can be an introvert, extrovert, no experience, tons of experience. I believe you can learn sales. That's why I do what I do. So I was an accountant and I knew I needed to get into sales. So I actually, just to be super transparent, I started praying every day for a couple of weeks that I would find a sales position, that I would be blessed with something else in my life. And 2 weeks later, on a Saturday, I walked into a restaurant and saw one of my friends, and he was with his girlfriend. I was with my fiance at the time, and I knew he was hiring salespeople, so I asked if we could sit with him. He told me about it. 2 weeks later, I quit my job and went to sell with him. And it was the best thing in my life that I could have done. I was really bad at first, but I invested time to learn the skill, and my life is outrageously different. And so, moral of this whole video is it doesn't matter how good you are at something. The saying, everyone is one skill away from wealth, is based on the fact that there are a lot of really skilled people who make very little money because they don't know how to sell themselves and their services. And he gives the example of a mechanic who he goes in and can fix his problem immediately, but only makes $20,000 or $30,000 a year. Very high skilled, but very low pay. And so, invest time in skills, invest time and money in skills. Go broke investing in yourself. Invest money into yourself. If it's scary, invest the money. If you're investing in yourself, it'll bring a return. People will go spend money on cars and food and houses and all sorts of junk on Amazon, but they won't invest in themselves. Invest in yourselves, get skills, get sales skills. Listen to my boy Robert. Totally changed my life. Went from making $60,000 in accounting to $400,000 in sales. Sales is so fun. It's always pushing you to be better. You're helping people. Choose a product that you're passionate about, and you'll always be helping and serving people. And you'll get paid for the value you create, not for the time you spend working. And ultimately, you need excess income. If you're barely scraping by, you're going to always be scraping by for the rest of your life. And you will probably outlive your income, and you'll have to go get another job. So invest in skills now when you're young, whatever age you're at, invest in skills, invest in sales. If you want to learn more about sales and learn how I can help you learn sales, go to thefightagainstmediocrity.com, and I would love to teach you more about sales and how to learn sales skills. The course is called 6-Figure Sales Course. I believe no salesperson should make under $120,000. There's no reason. And that's what I help people do. Anyways, hope you guys liked this. If you haven't read this book, I highly recommend you go buy it. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next video.